Marianne Williamson is a sort of lovably quirky and weird person. The first thing of note, the most notable thing for me, happened close to the end of the debate, but this I really liked. Watch this.
We have an administration that has gutted the Clean Water Act. We have communities, particularly communities of color and disadvantaged communities all over this country, who are suffering from environmental injustice. I assure you, I lived in Grosse Pointe. What happened in Flint would not have happened in Grosse Pointe. This is part of the dark underbelly of American society. The racism, the bigotry, and the entire conversation that we're having here tonight, if you think any of this wonkiness is going to deal with this dark psychic force of the collectivized hatred that this president is bringing up in this country, then I'm afraid that the Democrats are going to see some very dark days.
So that is Marianne Williamson talking about the dark psychic force of collectivized hatred. The dark psychic force of collectivized hatred. That is quite a salad of words. And by the way, how do we defeat the dark psychic force of collectivized hatred? Well, we have to collect the 4 unity stones from the 4 corners of the earth. She got into that later. I don't know if you might have missed that part. She's also, of course, wrong about, just like everybody else on the stage, she's wrong about everything, and her policy ideas are abysmal. But at least she has eccentric charm to her, which is more than I can say for most of the other characters on the stage. Second takeaway, speaking of not being tethered to reality, last night we got to see, yet again, Democrats up on the stage on national TV, seriously, sincerely advocating reparations. And this shows you where the party is. Let's watch this clip here.
We need to recognize that when it comes to the economic gap between blacks and whites in America, it does come from a great injustice that has never been dealt with. That great injustice has had to do with the fact that there was 250 years of slavery, followed by another 100 years of domestic terrorism. What makes me qualified to say $200 to $500 billion? I'll tell you what makes me qualified. If you did the math of the 40 acres and a mule, given that there was 4 to 5 million slaves at the end of the Civil War, there were 4 to 5, and they were all promised 40 acres and a mule for every family of 4. If you did the math today, it would be trillions of dollars. And I believe that anything less than $100 billion is an insult. And I believe that $200 to $500 billion is politically feasible today because so many Americans realize there is an injustice that continues to form a toxicity underneath the surface, an emotional turbulence that only reparations.
Thank you very much. Senator.
Keep in mind, this would have been, as is the case with so many things you hear from Democrats these days, this would have been unthinkable even, well, certainly 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Just like it would be unthinkable to have mainstream Democrats openly advocating socialism, it would have been unthinkable to have, almost every Democrat advocating putting men in the women's bathroom. All this stuff would have been thinkable 5-10 years ago, and now it's normal. Openly advocating reparations. During Barack Obama was not a proponent of reparations. He opposed reparations. Or rather, at least, Obama knew that he had to oppose it because it was such a wildly unpopular idea. And it still is wildly unpopular because, except with the minority of people who would receive money as payment for injustices that they did not themselves suffer, it, of course, is unpopular. There was, Don Lemon last night said, I forget the exact statistic, I think he said 76% of African Americans support reparations in the form of cash payment. Okay, well, I get it, because of course if you go up to somebody and you say, "Do you support being given cash?" I'm actually surprised it's only 76%. I think almost everybody would say, "Well, sure, yeah. I mean, if you're going to give it to me, I'll take it." But everybody else, it's unpopular with, except for that, the group of people who would receive the money and also hardcore left-wing activists who are the ones driving the party now.